Call to order the meeting of the Greenwood Advisory Plan Commission for Monday, March 13th. First thing on the agenda is the approval of minutes. We have a motion to approve the minutes. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Motion and a second. All in favor, show by a raised right hand. All opposed, same sign. With an 8-0. Special requests and continuances. Mr. Nelson?
We do have one request. I believe they're here to present.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening, Commissioners. Alex Interville, Post McKinney and Evans, here on behalf of Cyberpack. Can you hear me? Is the microphone on?
You're good.
As Gabe mentioned, here to ask, as you can see on your agenda, here to ask for a continuance to the May 8th Plan Commission meeting. In talking with Gabe and his staff about our petition and the staff report that came out, we also understand that there are some folks that are concerned about our proposed development. I think some of them may be here this evening. And we're looking for that May 8th date. I think that gives us plenty of time to meet with any of the neighbors, to hear their concerns, hopefully address any concerns that they have. Also meet with staff about their proposed commitments and look at the proposed development as we work with neighbors and hearing their concerns, and also with staff. Hope to come back before you May 8th with a full plan that again hopefully addresses the concerns of the neighbors and staff and seek your approval. So with that, we respectfully request that May 8th continuance.
I'll make that motion.
Second. We have a motion by Monica and a second by Mr. Walker. Is there any discussion before we vote on this? Seeing none. All in favor, please show with your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 8-0. Thank you.
Thank you very much. See you in May.
So if you are here for this docketed item, it has been continued to the May 8th meeting. You will not get another notice, and it will not be advertised again since it was continued at a public meeting. So the next time it will be before the Plan Commission will be May 8th.
There's no old business. Is there any old business from the floor? We'll wait just a moment while some people clear out. Okay. Is there any old business from the floor? Seeing none.
He can't
Hold on.
hear.
Huh?
I don't know.
Oh,
They cannot hear what's being said in the back,
can you hear now?
so I don't know if we need to repeat what Sean.
No, I'm just asking. Can you-
Yeah, I'm here.
Can you hear now?
Ron West, I'm here.
Hi, Ron.
Hey, Ron.
How you doing?
Can the floor hear from the back now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Thanks, Ron. Don, would you ask any of them that can't hear to come move to the front, just to make sure?
Okay, if you want to move to the front, where you might be able to hear a little bit better, you're welcome to do that. You can hear it now, okay.
Okay, Shauna, do you want to repeat?
I'll repeat. I think they've already cleared
I
out.
think
If
so.
anyone is left here who was here for the first item, which was PC 2023-015, which is the zone map change, that has been continued to the May 8th meeting. And there will not be another notice or publication for that. So if you are interested in that rezoning, it will not be heard until May the 8th.
Thank you. There's no old business on the agenda. Is there any old business from the floor? Seeing none. New business.
We did have a question in the chat. I didn't see it. I don't know if we accept those.
Sure.
Question?
I can't read it. Can you?
What was the continuance that was approved, the proposed development on Bushnell and Emerson?
Yeah, does that relate to the?
No, they're asking, was that the continuance? Yes.
Still in Emerson?
Yes, the matter that was continued is the rezoning that is at Bushville and, is it Emerson?
Emerson, yeah.
Yes.
So item B in new business is continued.
Yes. Does that answer the question, Gabe? Can you read more?
Yeah.
Okay. Under new business, we have PC 2023-006 Sage Briar PUD primary plat. This will be a public hearing. Anybody who wishes to speak will need to come forward and be sworn in. Who is presenting, please?
Okay, please raise your right hand. You swear under penalties for perjury the testimony you're about to give is true to the best of your knowledge.
It is.
Okay, who is presenting?
Everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Rex Ravitch, Pulte Homes, 11590 North Radian Street. We are here seeking primary plat approval for the Sage Briar PUD. This is a project that's located between Main Street and County Line Road, east of Five Points. We were before this board to seek zoning approval and received successful zoning approval last year. And now we're just one step further in the process, so. Submitted all the information to staff, went through the tech review, that information and approval is provided in your package. We are here to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, anybody else to speak in favor of this? Okay. Is there anybody to speak against this? Please come forward.
Yes.
My name is John Hakes, representing Hakes Family Farm LLC. Not here in opposition per se. I'm here to inform the council of our concerns. And, we've currently, as the land lays right now, all the drainage and stormwater that comes off of that property is our western boundary to our family farms. And it all goes east, southeast, east, northeast, and goes onto our property and goes into Grubbs Ditch. If the plan is implemented in accordance with Greenwood City requirements, we're certain that a dramatic reduction in runoff will be the result. That would be a good thing, and we're looking forward to that. We've been working with Pulte Sage Briar, and we have commitments that should cover any damages to our property in the interim from the start of the construction. And they do it in phases until the end of the construction. When it's all done, we're pretty sure that we're going to see a big improvement. So we're not too concerned about that. I'm sure we've been working with Greenwood Stormwater Department, Mr. Jones. He's been a great help in explaining to us exactly how this is supposed to work and actually how it's going to work. And, that's been a big help. That leads us to the drainage plan for the southern portion of Sage Briar Addition. We've yet to see what that plan is that's forthcoming. I understand that we've yet to see that. This for the southern boundary of Sagebriar. That affects approximately 100 yards of boundary between us and Sagebriar on the H Family Farm LLC property. So I'm sure that plan will be formulated and we'll be seeing it. Another area of concern that we have is Grubbs Ditch itself. That ditch is already it's overused, it's overtaxed, it's overloaded. Just a normal rain will cause it to back up very quickly because it's silted all the way down. And eventually goes down across Franklin Road and into Leatherwood Ditch and heads down towards Sugar Creek in the southern part of the county, southeastern part of the county. It's caused a lot of problems in the past, and it overloads so quickly now that what happens is it backs up and then it causes blowouts in our privately owned and maintained field tile system. And that's happened in the past. It's pretty hefty cost of repairing those kind of blowouts. And I expect that they will continue. So we see that land from Arlington Farms, Sagebriar, and land immediately to the north of Sagebriar, which will be developed soon. All of this is going to be within Greenwood city limits very shortly. So we're asking the city of Greenwood to take an active interest in Grubbs Ditch itself and the obvious need for upgrading that ditch sooner rather than later. Immediately following me will be Danette Morgan, a member of H Family Farm LLC, and she will be showing you some graphic evidence of our concerns. Thank you for your time, and thank you for your consideration.
Thank
I can come forward, I have pictures that I'd like to give.
Can you state your name and address, please?
My name is Danette Morgan, 704 North Matthews Road, Greenwood.
Thank you.
On behalf of my family, we'd like to thank the city and the city departments and Pulte Builders for working with us on what we consider a pretty dramatic problem. And as my brother said, there are some resolutions being worked out, which has been a huge relief to us. I just wanted to bring these pictures tonight so that this group could see what we're talking about Grubbs Ditch is not just us being fussy. The first page shows pictures where Grubbs Ditch originates, just west of 5 Points and County Line Road. And as you can see, there's cleared land that is going to be at Arlington something apartments. And Grubbs Ditch right there is not overflowing. It's a good way to drain water. But if you then flip through the last 4 pages, the second page shows where Grubbs Ditch would have the overflow from Sagebriar. And then everything from there just travels south and east. And you can see that the water volume just completely overtakes the ditch. I understand that this is a county ditch right now, but as my brother John said, we understand it'll be city limits before too long. If it's not carefully managed, there's going to be a dramatic amount of damage to the value of both farm property and residential property along this drug drainage. So just wanted the advisory council to see so that they could understand. These pictures were taken 2 weeks ago today, about 1 in the afternoon. And this was after 2.11 inches of rain. So it wasn't a large amount of rain. It wasn't, several days accumulation. It started raining that morning about 4 in the morning. And this was at about 1 in the afternoon. So I thank you for your attention.
Other remonstrators, please.
He didn't get sworn in yet.
Okay.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear under penalties for perjury the testimony you're about to give is true to the best of your knowledge?
Okay,
My name's Mike Meyer, 756 North 5 Points Road. And our concern is the road and what they're going to do to improve it, because we haven't seen anything on this 2-lane county road. Speed limit is 35. Anybody that runs 35, they're going to get run over. We just wondered, has that been brought attention to, and the improvements, and if there are improvements, what are the easements? What are they going to take to the east or the west side of the road? And that's because there are some houses that if they take a lot, they're not even going to have a front yard. So that's our concern. Appreciate your time.
Hey, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Are there any other remonstrators? Return to the original presenters for 5 minutes.
Sorry. Good evening, members of the Greenwood Plan Commission. For the record, David M. Compton, Vice President, Land Acquisition, Pulte Homes of Indiana. We appreciate the opportunity to present for you tonight. Several other members of the Pulte team, including our engineer Brandon Burke, if it gets more deeper questions than I can answer. First, I also want to thank the Hakes family for the hospitality and willing to meet with me on multiple occasions and the conversations we've had one-on-one, walking the property, going out to Grubbs Ditch, and also correspondence as late as last Thursday, just sending them some more information. We will continue with the zoning commitment and will continue to be available throughout the entire Sagebriar development to meet with them and other neighbors who reach out and talk to us. Not very often do we get to be able to come before folks like yourself and say, hey, we've got a win-win scenario here. The drainage that we discussed and that I presented as part of the Planning Commission and the zoning of Sagebriar hasn't changed. We're going to see about over a 93% reduction in water, like that goose drowner, that 2-inch rain coming off their property, coming off our farm and farms to the west once Sagebriar is being developed. We'll see some immediate reduction as we develop phase 1 and we kind of start working on the drainage plan. By the end, we hit to 93%. This improves Grubbs Ditch and the flow in Grubbs Ditch, but it also brings 500 extra people who will pay those ditch assessments on a semi-annual basis to provide maintenance of the ditch in perpetuity. Our next steps after primary plat will be to continue to work with the Johnson County Drainage Board. We've met with the surveyor already, been talking to him, incorporating his ideas into our plan and discussing how the flow will work. We've also been working with the city of Greenwood in their updated storm sewer ordinances. We've got in the front end of that to work with them. And we'll continue to work closely with the city of Greenwood as we develop the construction plans for not only phase 1, but then subsequent phases. So we will continue to work with everyone, the neighbors, as well as the county and the city to help address this problem. that exists today. In regards to Mr. Meyer's comments, we'll be working with the city via the zoning commitments that were made for improvements on 5 Points Road. So you'll also see that, sir, there, and I'm giving you one of my business cards also. So we appreciate being in Greenwood. We're very excited to bring the first Del Webb to the south side of Indianapolis, and we're very, very happy that it's in Greenwood, Indiana. So we appreciate the spirit of cooperation with the Hates family. I want to leave out Dr. Robinson, the airplane, met with him a couple different times also. So we'll continue to meet with them and make ourselves available. Thank you for your time tonight. And open for questions, I guess, too. Sorry.
We'll handle those at the end.
Okay.
Is there anybody else? Turn it over to the remonstrators then. You have 5 minutes. Come back if you'd like. If not, close the public hearing. Turn it over to the Plan Commission for questions.
All right. Well, probably that gentleman right in front of the beard, probably. Yeah. Could you discuss your intentions with regard to the trails within the community? According to my tech review point, it was kind of not quite clear what's going on there.
Yes, so I don't believe the copy of the plans that you have show it very well because they're in black and white. If you had anything in color.
I don't have colored plans with me right now. I do have the 2 commitments that we talked about in writing if you want a copy.
Yeah. So before I read these commitments, just from a very high level perspective, sidewalks on both sides of the streets are going to be public. There's going to be various common areas and public parks within the community that are all tied together via an asphalt trail network. And that's kind of the hub or the backbone of the community there. And then with respect to some of the commitments that were made at the zoning level and then working with Gabe leading up to this meeting here. So there's a 35-foot half right of way at the southern edge of our property that we were required to dedicate as part of the zoning. So furthering that discussion, so we're going to make sure we notate that appropriately on the plans, that there would be a future road and future sidewalks. That way, if there's a resident that moves in, roads being built behind them, that they don't come to the city and say, hey, I didn't know about this, this is a nuisance, etc. So cover our bases there. And then it was very important from staff's perspective, and then also as provided in the ordinance that we would provide a trail stub connection so that there could be pedestrian connectivity through the trail to the south to that future road and trail or sidewalk, so to speak. Currently, the trails only connect to 5 Points, but it was very important from staff for us to be able to connect to the south, so we agreed to do that as well. So there are 2 commitments that we worked on with Gabe. Just be summarizing these efforts.
And if you'd like, Monica, I can read those and kind of elaborate on a point. The 2 commitments that we have, since it's right now, it's just the 35 feet half right away. There's not an actual road there. It would be at this point a road to nowhere at this point. But our 2 commitments were that a notation will be added to the secondary plat labeling the 35 feet of right of way as right of way for future road and sidewalks not to be constructed with Sagebriar by Del Webb. And then the second one, which was the important part regarding the connectivity, 1 trail stub providing direct access to the south property line will be established on the secondary plat connecting the internal trail system to the future perimeter sidewalk. And then in the tech review committee minutes, they had in some areas sidewalks only on one side of the road. They have amended those plans to include sidewalks on both sides of all of the public roads in their subdivision.
So anyone can just take advantage of going for a walk. It's not private, keep out, anything like that.
These are not private roads on the sidewalk. And bounce off Rex as well.
Walker? Point of clarification and a question.
So the ditch, Grubbs ditch is part of Greenwood's ditch inventory.
It's not, no, it'd be maintained by the county surveyor.
So
It's not even within, most of it's not even within the city limits of the city of Greenwood.
So if the city takes more later, I'm just trying to understand.
It would still be, because it's a legal, I believe it's a legal drain, so it would still fall under the Johnson County Drainage Board, the Johnson County Surveyor.
Okay. There's no chance of them abandoning that when that property goes into the city limits. And then if it gets abandoned,
I won't say there's no chance, but it's unlikely. And I will also say that on other legal drains ditches in the past, like the one at Summerfield Park, the city has partnered with the Johnson County Drainage Board and the surveyor to do improvements along the ditch.
Okay, so I just thought I'd put that out there. Then my question is on I read the tech review documents. In one piece in there, it said Mark St. John, city engineer, wasn't a real big fan of the sewer and the way it aligned with properties, and thought maybe adjoining properties might have issues with sewer availability later in the future. Is that been addressed or?
So, yeah, so, the terminus point with the sewer today is actually west of Combs Road. It kind of sits between Combs and Graham. So there was the approved ridgetop development. So we were trying to align with kind of the road network there on that particular plan. We don't just want to run a straight line just for the sake of geometry, so to speak. So we tried to follow roadways to the best that we could. And then there's another site plan floated between Combs Road and 5 Points. So we tried to follow the roadway because A, that's going to be what's required, but then B, it's actually the most conservative approach. So even if something doesn't happen in the future, that would allow our engineer to make sure that this property can be provided and have sanitary sewer service gravity as it's designed today.
I would add too, this is a primary plat. So what I was concerned about was off-site sanitary sewer easements. Those can be addressed at a later date. They're not set necessarily with this primary plat. We do like to see it because it shows that this is a feasible development. You can get sanitary sewer.
So, but you're not concerned with it being addressed for.
Correct. I think it should be addressed with the forward. That's the actual alignment.
Mark, the same paragraph, you have a concern about ponds at a depth of 8 feet, the city requires 10, is that been addressed?
Yes, it has.
Thank you.
Are there more comments or more questions? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion.
And John, I didn't have a chance to get my word in there.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So sorry about that.
I won't entertain a motion.
We did have the 2 proposed conditions that you guys would want to add those. I do have a paper copy if someone wants the language that I've prepared with Rex. Additionally, if you wanted to put in a commitment to working with Johnson County Drainage Board for their approval. Heard some concerns tonight. Might be a good, they already have to do it, but just to make sure that point is noted from the public.
Okay. And I thought of a comment that I had earlier that I didn't address. On the drawing, I believe it's on the cover sheet, they show a road cross section, but they mention the county cross section. They have to follow the city.
Yeah, so that they mentioned a typical county road option. That's just how our standard detail is linked.
That's the same as our standard
It's
detail.
a city standard detail. Yep.
So to Mr. Myers, you asked about that?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
Oh, Mr. Myers asked about what the road was going to happen.
I did.
And they're showing a detail where it's a proposed 24-foot pavement width with shoulders.
Which side of, my question is, okay, are you gonna go down the center of the road and go east, west, to improve this road? Are you gonna take,
I believe the answer is yes.
So we have our standard detail that we require. Let's see, 2 12-foot lanes and paved shoulders. On their side of the development, which would be the east side of the road, they're required to dedicate right of way that meets the requirements of our UDO. Here, what is that, 50 foot or 60? No, it's more than 60 foot. Yeah, right away would be 60 foot. On the west side of the road, which is the side of the road they do not own, they would be required to, any permanent improvements they may need to be in right of way that we're gonna maintain in the future. It would be on the developer to obtain that right of way, purchasing it from the people that own it. If they can't obtain that right of way, there are options to shift roadway alignment. There are some variations of that county road option that we have. Might allow for a smaller lane instead of 12 foot or smaller paved shoulders. So there are some additional options that can be pursued.
So that's up in the air, actually.
Well, they're required to make the improvements to that roadway, to reconstruct that roadway. That's a commitment they have.
Okay.
But exactly what that alignment looks like could vary, and it'll be fleshed out at the commercial site plan or the residential site plan process.
Okay. Thank you. Now. I don't think so.
Say with the following commitments, if you want to add commitments.
I can go ahead and say what the proposals are, right, Sean?
Yes.
All right, so the language gave. I'll just look at this, I think, so that's first. The proposed commitments gave proposed 1, a notation will be added to the secondary plat labeling the 35 foot of right of way as right of way for future road and sidewalks not to be constructed with Sagebriar by Del Webb
Along the south boundary of the property.
And then the second one would be 1 trail stub providing direct access to the south property line will be established on the secondary plat connecting the internal trail system to the future perimeter sidewalks. Those are the 2 I mentioned. There's language for
And
If you
you
wanted to
suggested a third, if you wanted to say.
the third was about the
Cooperate with the county
Cooperate with
drainage
county.
board for the drainage, which they are required to do anyway.
So that was what he mentioned. Mr. President, I move to approve the proposed primary plat of the Sagebriar PUD submitted by Pulte Homes of Indiana, docket PC 2023-006, subject to the technical review committee conditions that all staff comments are addressed because the primary plat complies with the standards in the Unified Development Ordinance subdivisions division. Where do I add that?
With the.
At the end, okay. At the end with the commitments. Okay. And to direct the president to sign on the commission's behalf the notice of determination and written findings regarding the approval of the primary plat as prepared by the planning director, along with the proposed commitments. 1, a notation will be added to the secondary plat labeling the 35 feet of right of way as right of way for future road and sidewalks, not to be constructed with Sagebriar by Del Webb. 1, trail stub providing direct access to the south property line will be established on the secondary plat connecting the internal trail system to the future perimeter sidewalk. And to that I would add also that they cooperate with the Johnson County Drainage Board.
The motion's been presented.
Second.
We have a second by Monica. Is there any further discussion before we take a vote? Seeing none, all in favor of this motion, please show your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 8-0. Good luck.
thank you so much. Have a good evening.
Is there any new business from the floor? Seeing none, announcements. Okay, no announcements. One more mo.
Move to adjourn.
Meeting adjourned.